Recording going now?
Yep, it's recording.
Got it.
All right, so yeah, we'll let people just join up as they're coming in here. So everybody, thanks for coming on. We're going to go through this webinar about communicating better and standing out for your patients. This is a collaborative effort, obviously, with Atlas Health and Mechanical Care Forum with Jason Ward. We want to help you guys reduce errors and boost outcomes and retain your patients and basically just stick out and be the standout amongst the crowd.
Yeah, I'll introduce Ryan for you guys. If you don't know him, Ryan's been a PT for forever almost. You can see it in his face. You know, he's 25 years of clinical experience. Ryan's a cert. He's got a clinic in Southwest Virginia. From Minneapolis or Minnesota area before. He's got a strong belief that better communication leads to better outcomes. And it's just so fitting that today's webinar is about that. So he's a builder of practical tools. Ryan, along with a couple of partners, founded Atlas Health. And so he wants to help clinicians simplify care, deliver better through technology that reduces patients' confusion, improves their adherence, and enhances the results. He's focused on practical strategies that empower both patients and providers.
And I'll introduce Jason. He's been practicing about as long as I have. He's weathered the storm better, I guess, though he doesn't have as many. He's an active clinician, communicator, podcast host, which you probably all know him for, with the Mechanical Care Forum, and just a general seeker of truth. I think we're all familiar with his trips to far off lands where and some of you have gone there as well. I know a lot of you that are attending have gone for these mission trips, and he's spread the mechanical assessment to those in need. So Jason, thanks a lot for joining me for this podcast.
Absolutely.
So the main objectives that we want to get across for you guys is understand how to reduce patient errors through clear, consistent communication. And also, you know, how poor communication costs you time and money and outcomes and everything else that's a downstream effect. We want you to recognize the importance of presenting a professional persona because there's perceived value associated with that persona. And we also want to give you some strategies to keep your patient's attention because that's what it's all about in this day and age, is keeping your patient's attention. So first area here is reducing your patient errors. And I think we can all relate to something like this, right? You send your patient out with a certain exercise and they come back doing something that's not your exercise, or they come back doing, like, you send them out with one thing and they come back and they're like, oh yeah, I've been doing this and I've been doing this, and I've been doing this and I've been doing all this. And then it's like, no, that's not what I wanted you to do. And that's considered to be lost time now, because if they came back in 2 days or a week or whatever it was, it's just completely lost. So depending on the study, there's some research behind this. Depending on the study, unprompted recall, meaning you just gave them something to remember. And what you did is you asked them a question about it. And they have about 12% of people are able to respond. So that means that, you know, 88% of people have poor recall. Another study shows that patients immediately forget 40 to 80% of what you told them. Now, is this every patient? No, but is it probably majority of the patients? Yeah, absolutely. So the moral of the story is don't leave this up to your patient's memory because they are going to forget. The stuff that you have to offer them is extremely important. So give them every advantage to remember. When we think of how can reducing errors actually help you, again, if you send the patient out with something and they come back doing the incorrect movement or not the right dosage, or they're in the wrong position or whatever it is, they somehow created an error, then you're wasting time and money, sacrificing outcomes. You're sacrificing that patient's satisfaction with your care that you're delivering because now they have a perception of what you just did for them, and it's an incorrect perception, right? We want this to be accurate perceptions the patient has and have them overall have a positive experience. So it literally pays, like you get cash as a result of this patient doing the right thing. So patients must fully understand their instructions.
And just to kind of add to what Ryan shared, we got a couple of papers here. Georg Soup did a study in 2020. Do patients with low back pain remember physiotherapist advice? One piece of advice, 100% retention based on the study. Two pieces, 92%. Beyond that, it dramatically drops. Three pieces of advice, 67%. So we think, well, that's still pretty high. If we look at it in the medical world, you'll see there that this paper in 2018 that looked at factors associated with patient recall in an ambulatory specialty care visit will show that about 49% of what patients receive as instruction is retained. So whichever way you look at it, there is a portion, and sometimes a very large portion, that is not retained by patients. And we learn about that in our conventional settings on the return visit. So again, like Ryan was saying, we forfeit time. So how can we help reduce errors? Ryan touched on it, but let me just elaborate a little bit. First, we tell them. So we all do this. We all tell our patients, I want you to do retraction, 10 reps every 2 hours, posture correction, whatever. We show them. That's going to increase it beyond telling them. So we demonstrate retraction, posture correction. Here's how you do it. We have them demonstrate it back. Show me what you're going to do then. That's right. A little bit higher, not that. Don't throw your head up, just inward. We have them do teach back. If you guys are familiar with that, it's how would you share this with a neighbor if you were going to teach them how to do your home program? Do it right now for me. All these are just increasing ways to help make sure that the patient is going to perform what you're wanting them to correctly and accurately. We could send them with written instructions. Hopefully we're doing that. Of course, that might look like a stick figure. It might look like a photo that you've pulled off of the internet. It might look like a dusty box of exercises that I have, printed out of myself doing this with an intern, but it attracts dust there over time. And is this really the image that you want to leave your patients there? It might include illustrations, photos, and the written. And then, of course, we can improve on all of that if we have some kind of video animation. And even beyond that, if it goes with them wherever they are, this should increase the likelihood of patients getting it right and reducing the likelihood of patients getting it wrong.
A big contributor to patient errors, is just significant information overload. So this is a pretty common exercise that we send out. And you think about all the instructions that are associated with this particular movement, then we expect them to get this right, even if it's a single movement. So let's just run through it real quick, right? So you tell the patient all these instructions: lie down, find the surface that's specific for you that works well, relax, give it 30 to 60 seconds, hands under your shoulders. You can read through all these. And once you get to the 15th one, so to speak, then you can go back to the patient and say, hey, what was step number 1? And they won't remember. There's no way. So remember, patients forget a significant amount of what we tell them, and there's a load of information that we are giving them and probably don't even understand that or realize that the density of the information that we're giving them is super high. So they have to have something in their hand to help them remember, so to speak. In their hand, meaning in their hand, right? On their phone, because this is with you all the time. Mine is literally never more than arm's length away from me. It is with me 24/7, during sleep, during whatever. It doesn't matter. It's always with me. So we want them to have an opportunity to help them remember through technology.
So we'll look at just another example. Simple exercise, terminal knee extension, quad set at the end. Simple, right? We only give them that 1, 2 maybe instructions, but no, we maybe give them more. So we sit at the edge of the bed, extend your knee, contract your muscle fully, keep your toes up, test your baselines before, monitor your pain location, monitor the intensity of the discomfort from 1 to 10, test your baselines after, do 10 reps, but more if needed, do every 2 hours, right? So we find that, okay, maybe it's not so simple. Maybe We can remember that quite well because we deliver it every day. But how about our patients? So Ryan mentioned, look, we give overload and we think, well, not really. We're just giving them one exercise. And that's true, except there's a lot of pieces. And just as much as we want patients to become a self-treater, we want them to become a self-assessor. And the only way they do it is to understand what they're looking for. So let's take something that we're a little less familiar with. Anybody have an RV? Maybe not. So something a little less familiar. How does it go? What does it take to hook up your RV to water? Well, you first need to park that RV on a level surface and close to that plug and source. Drop the tongue in the stabilizers. Ensure that the appliances are off 4. Plug in the surge protector before. Hook up the water to the spigot. If no water at the site, you got to fill the tanks before. Install your pressure regulator and filter. Hook up the 90-degree flexible fitting so it doesn't break the hose when you hook it up to your RV, and then turn on the water, okay? All right, now Lee was paying extra good attention lying there on his bed. So I'm going to backtrack here, and Lee, I'm going to have you tell me what all is included in hooking up your RV to water.
Got to keep the truck level. That's about all I got.
Okay. Our case in point. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Right on cue there, Lee. Our patients are getting the same information. We think it's quite simple, but we've all seen it. Patients come back and they've missed a little bit of an important key. They didn't want to do the exercise when they were hurting a lot. They thought, well, maybe they'd wait until they felt better and then do the exercise. And we're thinking, no. It's when you hurt. It's the most important time for you to do the exercise. So it goes on and on and on. And the point is, the more we can give patients the specifics, specific to those usable and commonly used repeated movements that we all find so valuable, but no one else is applying and teaching to their patients. That's when we can kind of get better adherence, and our patients get it wrong fewer times. So we lose less time. We gain efficiency in our care.
The next subject here is presenting a professional persona. So, and there's one slide that's going to really drive this home for you guys. So just take a look at this. So everybody, I want you to think in your house right now, how many Apple product boxes do you have just sitting around? They're just sitting there. They're in a cabinet, something like that. I have 5, and that's a lie. I have 5 right now. Why? Why am I hanging on to those boxes? Why does anybody hang on to those Apple boxes? Because they spend a lot of effort. They spend a lot of money on creating those boxes, right? It's because those boxes feel too valuable to throw away. The importance and the value of the product are conveyed in the delivery method and the packaging. So do you think Apple would have done this if there wasn't some return? Do they actually get money as a result of spending more on their packaging? Indirectly, yeah. It costs them a ton on the front end, though. It costs them a lot of money to make these packages so that they feel substantial, so that when you open it, it feels like what you're getting is something super valuable. Now, think about how valuable is the information that you are providing to your patients. You save time, you save risk, you save cost, you improve productivity, not to mention just quality of life, right? So you have to think to yourself, do you want to be the iPhone box or do you want to be a Walmart bag? And again, that's up to you. You can do whatever you want to do. However, times are changing and we have to be able to provide value, at least a perceived value. And that comes in every bit of what you do, your interaction with the patients, but also how what you do is delivered. So provide valuable information in a valuable package. So let's compare the two. This is my stick drawing right here. I used to use these. I've drawn this picture probably tens of thousands of times because I used to send patients out with this very thing. So it was really easy for me to sketch up because I have a motor program in my brain for it. But this picture, and then the one on the left, they do the same thing, right? They have the same function, but the perception is much different. Same thing with this. I've used this one before. Compare the two. What do you see? What's different? They convey the same information, but there is a different type of message that's delivered. Now, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then
Start by lying on your stomach, with your palms down and your hands placed under your shoulders. Slowly straighten your arms, lifting the top half of your body, while your pelvis and thighs remain relaxed. Notice that your elbows are as straight as comfortably possible at the top position. Once at the top position, slowly exhale, allowing your pelvis, thighs, and abdomen to relax and sink downward toward the floor. Hold your end range for the recommended amount of time before slowly returning to the start position. Continue the movement for the recommended amount of repetitions.
So now we've taken those 15 steps and reduced it into one video that can be replayed over and over and over again, all from here, because it's just sitting right there. It's in their hand anyway. So that's probably worth more than just 1,000 words. Next section, keep the patient's attention. We want to keep their attention. So if you're keeping your audience's attention, then you're the one that's controlling what they're seeing and what the narrative is. If you aren't keeping your patient's attention, then someone else is going to. If the patient doesn't see value that you're delivering, the quick wins, then you're going to lose their attention. And maintaining a connection between visits is like this superpower. It's completely underutilized and extremely effective. If there's one thing that you can take away, is that you have to keep the patient's attention between your face-to-face visits. And if you do that asynchronously via an electronic method, it will serve you huge. You will always be top of mind. The patient just will not forget you. You can do that. We have with Atlas, there's dashboards. We can do that with secure messaging, with pain ratings, with it's constantly pinging them automatically with requests for information, but not in a manner that's cumbersome or onerous. It's a real quick thing. So I think we've all had patients that have just dropped out, and then we wonder where they've gone, and most of them have gone someplace else.
So have a quick look at this just on the screen real quick. In a quick flash, which patient needs attention? Somebody hop in there and help us out.
Adam,
Why?
everything's going down. Well,
Sorry.
wait, sorry. The pain is, I'm looking at this on it. It should be Charles.
That's right.
Pain going up, sorry.
That's right. So at a quick glance, we can just check. And as you get more familiar with this, there's no question at all. It takes a quick glance. And we can simply identify who needs a bit of attention. You could quickly send out a message to Adam saying, good job, keep going. Looks like you're seeing some improvement, just as a kind of a rah-rah encouragement. But to Charles, I see your symptoms have spiked. Now, what's nice is we can set up on Atlas a notification that we receive prompt through email whenever the patient breaches a certain pain intensity. So if I know that Charles' worst pain when he came in was between a 1 and a 4, I can set a notification that anytime Charles reaches a 4 or a 5 or higher, I'll get notification. So then I look like, man, it's like Big Brother's looking out for me. Man, Jason, you knew right when I got worse and you reached out to me. But we can also triage Julie and Adam, leave them alone, encourage efficacy, self-efficacy, and independence. So allow those people to continue to work through their problems and helping them gain some independence there. Now, at the dashboard, I can simply go through all of my patients. This is actually a quick shot of my dashboard. I can go from one patient to the next, to the next, to the next, and just have a quick look at their outcome. I can send on the little cog wheel to the far right side. I can send out an additional request if they haven't submitted any information related to their pain lately. I can click on messaging on the top right there and send them a quick message. This is where we communicate any and every problem that you might have. So reach out to me. And they receive it in an encrypted way, securely, both in any form of contact that we've put into their patient profile. So whether that's email or it's their phone number or both. And it comes through a text, comes through their email, encrypted with a link that no one else can access. But I can go from one patient to the next, quickly looking at each of the patients to see, are they trending in the right way? If it's a dysfunction, I shouldn't see a lot of up or down. It should be quite similar. And I can quickly say, looks like you're doing your work, stay on task. This will show to be, fruitful eventually. Or if it's a derangement, we know we better be seeing some downward trends like this patient right here.
Yeah, just to add one thing in, the dashboard, there's a reason why Slack is a thing, because Slack gives you all the information in one simple location. So you have all your communication in one spot. And that's kind of what this is intended to do, is put all your information in one spot.
So if we look at this, Ryan shared this back in Ottawa, just showing a traditional timeline in conventional care where the only points of contact reasonably or essentially are the in-person session, the bottom line there. Every green circle that you see there is a point of contact with an in-person session. So in the same compressed time, using technology here, using these ways to communicate between sessions, we see those in purple or pink, whatever that is. And so the initial evaluation is done there, you can see on the same day, but a quick follow-up with the patient. They're confirming their exercises response and they're clarifying. That's not done until visit number 2, 1 week later. In another day or two, the patient then reaches out, patient contact, pain is peripheralizing. We go lateral, or a lateral is exposed, so we adjust their exercise. That wouldn't have occurred until week 2. The next one, they're back on track now. Their pain is centralizing, having changed their exercise through a third point of contact that's, again, remotely done between sessions. We're still wouldn't have achieved that until week 3. And so by week 1, we're essentially achieving what's in the conventional route achieved on that next in-person session 1 week later in this new, better way to communicate with patients. What would have been achieved to week 4, show that next advancement there, right? And so there we go. We're in person again. We've returned to sagittal plane. We're progressing. It would have taken 4 weeks. And you can see that if you draw that on out, we're potentially achieving outcomes with patients in half the time because of these additional touch points.
And this is just an example. I think it's fair to say too that it's possible that like if we go back to the very first touch point, the electronic touch point, the first pink spot, and they have been, and we have recognized that there's a relevant lateral, let's say, and we catch that early and we get them on the right track within 48 hours. If they're banging on that thing and they're making things worse for almost an entire week or whatever it is between the next face-to-face session, that it's going to be a lot harder to get that thing wrangled in under control. So instead of 10 weeks, now your timeline is pushed out to whatever, right? It's just farther out. So catching things early is super helpful and prevents these episodes of care from lasting longer than they should. So just some closing comments here. If you aren't engaging with your patient, then someone else is. That's a super huge take home. If I can put this all into like one sentence, then it would be something like, give your patients precise instructions that they can't forget in a professional format, and maintain a connection asynchronously in between face-to-face sessions. That kind of sums it all up. Times are definitely changing. AI seems like it's advancing almost every day, and I think it is. We have to change with these times. We can't be resistant to them. We have to embrace this stuff. The sayings that come along with being stuck in resistance are, we've always done it this way. What I'm doing now works for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way. And we want to make sure that we're all doing things the best way we can. Like saying, I don't have time to chat with my patients. It takes, like Jason and I actually went through how much time it actually takes when we're doing this with our patients. Usually about like between 30 seconds and maybe 90 seconds. If you don't do that, if you don't take the 30 seconds, then someone else will. We're trying to set ourselves apart. We're trying to set a new standard of care. We all want to do this better, and Atlas is for those that want to do this better. We're here for you. We want to help you guys. So do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. I love that. So we just took the first, 25 minutes here running through this. And let's go through questions that you guys might have. Is there anything that sparked interest, controversy? I don't know, something. What are you guys thinking? Just unmute your mic and then ask away. Let's do this then. What I'll do
Hi guys.
is go ahead. Did somebody want to ask a question? I heard something.
Can you hear?
Sarah, you might have to type it in. It looks like if that's you talking, you got a pretty bad connection there. Anyone else has questions or comments? A few of you are using Atlas. Curious about anything that you guys have observed.
I've been liking it so far. I'll say that. Hadn't really had much complaints other than I talked to Ryan at one point in time because it was on maybe central time zone. So I was getting patients complaining about getting messages early in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning.
I got you.
But otherwise, yeah, everything's been good.
Tell me, what have you, Lee, why are you using it?
Because I was just using the old VHI thing before that we had made our own pictures for it. So we had our own pictures in VHI that you could do. But that's what I've been using for quite some time. I tried some of the other things, whatever the one is, KNO2 or something's online, and it has a crap ton of exercises, but they were just not obviously MDT based. So even sometimes the exercise that you needed were, you couldn't find the right things that were, there was nothing, sometimes not even anything close to what you needed.
Got it. Yep.
Cool. I like that. Looks like Sarah typed in, what are your thoughts using patient video for HEP instruction? Does that mean that you're using their phone, Sarah, or to have them do on their cell? Okay, yeah. So that does work well, like for the first instruction, for the first set of instructions, for the face-to-face. But in this, if we go back to the scenario where Jason was showing that timeline between the two, if you need to change things up midstream, then you can't necessarily take a video of them doing their exercises in between those face-to-face sessions. So now you're kind of in lost time. So like in these scenarios, when patients come to me, they message me and they say, like in that scenario there, it was, oh, hey, thanks for letting me know. So I'm going to send you a new exercise right now. Within 3 seconds, it's in their hands and they know exactly what to do and how to change it. And then they can just keep me updated. Like in real time, they're sending me information. They're messaging me with the response that they had to the new exercise that I sent them.
Yeah, and I would say that we hear that a lot, Sarah, and it's a pretty common thing. Patients are quite happy with using their own cell, and they can constantly access it again. The challenge is, in what other industry does a company store information about their clients on their clients' devices and not store it on their own? So you can see where we're going with this. We would never store our documentation on their cell phone. We would never, a plumber's not going to store, what they've done to a client's house on their someone else's database or someone else's platform, and not have a collection of that on their own device. So I would say it does work well, but then you have very little ability to go back and reassure yourselves, what did I give Sally on June the 1st? And what did I give Fred? And why did that change on the 13th of the month? Whereas on this, you can simply look what was given when, and you can also see the patient's comments. This is working well. It's not working well. I'm having trouble with this and that. And it's all collected on one dashboard. It can also be copied and then pasted into, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute, in terms of if you have an EMR, you can copy the written form of it and then paste that into an EMR so you have collection, and you're not able to do that when you have it on other patients' devices.
So I'll just give an example of that. So we'll just use test patient 6 since it's already established. If I wanted to add a new patient, I just click here and I put these parameters. So I'll add this, we'll call it lumbar program. And I'll just go to my favorites here. Next, okay. So this is where if I wanted to send them their exercises, I would just click right here, send exercise program. But I want to copy it into my EMR. So what I do is I do that, click 1, click 2. So it's copied. You go back to your EMR and you just paste it into their record, into their plan. Anybody else? Should we do, well, think about any other questions? I'll just go through one other, like a demo here.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
So I just Share reminded me that actually that's also what I've done a lot of, and I actually did that on my phone because I have the database for doing the GOTA stuff, because I do a lot of stuff with athletes and, well, my general patients too. But question for you guys, am I able to send you a GOTA video to have that put in the system? Like one of our biggest movements is a rocker, just to start getting the seat reset, or an air chair sitting on the wall type of stuff. I mean, am I able to get those into the system, or is it strictly MDT?
No, it's any exercise you want. It's any exercise that you can think of. Yeah, so Lee, like anything you want, like we can build it.
Because I didn't even think about that. I do actually still do that quite a bit, and I actually do have it on my phone, and I do text it to them, so that's, we do kind of talk back and forth via text. But yeah, it'd be kind of better just to do it via this system too as well.
Yeah, any kind of patient instruction where technique counts, then absolutely we can. All you have to do is just create a video and then just ship it to me.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
It can be converted. Yeah.
I think Andy and I think Andy, you started using this. Christine, I'm not sure. I don't think you have. Suzanne, I'm not sure as well. I'd be curious to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Maybe you need further. We just jumped into this with the majority of the people that we invited for this had been exposed to it before. But if this is new to you and you need us to step back and show a little bit more basic information, speak now.
Yeah, I got a question about that. How do I see on there, it says that you can set up templates. I just haven't played with it. How do you set up so that every time I can just go in, I need extension, just press up and or back bend that's already set up instead of having to redo it every time? I know you can do it. I just haven't figured out how to do it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll show you right now. So we'll just go to template builder, and then this will be your team's name. So whoever's in your account and you establish as a team member, they get a separate Dropbox, basically is what this is. So I'll just choose my name, and I want to create a new template up here. We'll call it, what would you want to call it, Lee? Like, what's your
Extension principle.
okay? And we'll say it's a lumbar extension.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay, yep, we're good, because we can select the body region for that, and then we just hit continue. And then you just select the exercises that you want in there. So let's search some lumbar extension. And it can be very common here, lumbar extension lying. We'll say, well, maybe they go partial first. Let me there we go. And then we'll throw in some centralization, peripheralization education, as well as, we'll say lumbar roll use. So this would be a pretty comprehensive program. And then we can go here. You can input a message that's generic, since it's going to be a template, and then gives you an opportunity to personalize it when you're with a patient. And you can keep these sets and reps, so to speak, about whatever you think would. Let's just say that that's what we want. And we click done. And now that extension principle is there. Now let's go back to patients. And let's say that for test patient, I want to use that extension principle template. So then I just go right down here, assign template. I go to my Dropbox, so to speak, extension principle.
Okay.
All there. And then you can jump right to here. You can personalize your message here, and you can go right to the last one, and then you can send it out.
Okay. And then what did you just say about about different people on your account? How many people can you have on your account?
So as many as you want, as many as you assign to your account. Like if you wanted to add people to your team, so to speak. So right here, so I'm in account, and then you go over to team, and you can add team members. So, and they would all be siloed in your particular account. So you'd be able to see all the patients of everyone that's on your team.
Okay, good.
And then all you have to do is just add a member like so. I'm glad you mentioned that, because templates are those things that, because we have exercises for everything. Templates are commonly used for like post-op patients, right? So we have all the exercises in here for knee replacements, hip replacements, anterior, posterior, shoulder replacements, traditional, reverse. We have all that stuff in there, and those are great opportunities to use a template and really speed up your process. That's great. Anybody else?
Sarah and Lee, did you guys, besides this template, mention anything that we've shown today that you weren't aware of, whether it's regard to the dashboard or collecting information or using to kind of help you efficiently check on your folks?
Yeah, I don't guess I have really utilized it as good as I should have, as well as, using the data, to be honest with you. So I need to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I've just found that it's helped me it makes me look good whenever I can reach out to a patient that's having a little bit of trouble and they really appreciate, wow, man, this is good. I appreciate that. Yeah. So use it to your advantage because it takes very little time, a quick little reaching out. And if you're really trying to build some evidence to suggest that what you do is different and better, patient by patient, this is one way to do it.
Oh yeah. So Sarah, you're talking about the outcomes being texted multiple times. So there's a reason behind that. So when you're creating programs, let's say like if I put it up here, that are in the same body region. So this one is lumbar exercises, and then if we go back and then let's say that I add another program and I put it under lumbar, and then I create something here. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to skip right to the end for the sake of getting my point across here. So no, where was that one? There it is. So now I have two programs here. And when you send for the same body region, so when you send outcomes, so when we go up here and you select your outcome frequency, so let's say every 7 days and whatever the threshold is, then what's going to happen is that program or that outcome measure for lumbar body region will get sent for both of these programs. So the best way to get around that is to just update that program per the body region, meaning use this lumbar program. I'm going to get rid of this one. So let's say that you saw the patient and you're like, this exercise right here is not appropriate for you anymore. Okay, cool. So then we erase that one and then move on to something more appropriate. Like so. That way, what it does is it keeps all the outcomes to just a single lumbar program, multiple lumbar programs here. Hopefully, does that answer your question, Sarah? You can just give me a quick. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so just keep your body regions separate here, because you could have a lumbar program, then you could have a cervical program, then you could have a shoulder program. That way, when you're choosing your body region for your outcomes, then you can just choose outcome for lumbar or shoulder, or yeah, because if it's lumbar.
Ryan, you might often show that when you say you finish up with someone's shoulder and they say, well, I've been worried about my knee as well. Can we work on my knee? Then you might want to stop the frequent collection, or, treat that really as, so at the bottom there, Ryan, where it shows stop, there you go. It stops. Would you like to stop regular outcomes? Would you like to automatically collect long-term? I'd encourage you to do that. So you just click that on and stop the frequency of one, and then you can, set up the new body part that you're doing. And then that way you don't have to worry about the patient receiving too many requests about their pain.
Yeah, I've already had that happen where we essentially have stopped treatment and they're independently continuing on, and they would message me saying, hey, do I still need to fill these out every 7 days? I'm like, oh, no, sorry, my fault. I forgot. So what that means, I forgot to go here and hit stop the outcome collections, say, yeah, I want to stop regular outcome collections, but I still wanted to follow up with them in the long term, 3, 6, and 12 month, because that's valuable information. And then you just hit submit, and then it automatically does it. You can just forget all about it, and then 3 months later, you're going to get an outcome collection, and then 6 months later, and it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from the date that you said stop.
What else, guys? Andy or Mariana or Suzanne? You guys have any questions? I know some just hopped on, but catching the tail end of this, but
This is Andy. I didn't get a chance to see the start of it, but I know you had asked for some comments about it, and I've used several different, just for some context, I've used a lot of different HEP softwares, like, the cards, the VHI, and then some digital ones of those, and physio tools. And I got onto MedBridge real early. I want to say maybe like 9 years or so ago. And a couple of years before the pandemic, I actually stopped subscribing to it. And then now a lot of people have subscribed to that. That was like the best thing they had. But then they got so much stuff in there that you couldn't, it wasn't usable. So, and they were not receptive to any kind of input. They said they would be, like you said, hey, could you add this exercise or anything like that? And then it just got worse and worse. So I stopped with that a long time ago. And I seen like IMC stuff, that's good. But, because it's MDT specific. But I do like how this system has where you can actually see where the emphasis is, because there's things that are highlighted. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
no, good. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback. That's really appreciated. The one that really highlights kind of the capabilities of the 3D world is this video I'm about to show here.
Standing, with your back against the door jamb, with your arm behind your back, grasping onto the door jamb on the opposite side of your body. Notice that your body position is off-centered toward the arm that is behind your back, so that your upper arm is close to your torso. Your forearm is horizontal. Your feet are positioned in a wide stance, with one foot forward and the other back. Maintaining upright posture, slowly shift your weight forward, as far as you comfortably can, at your shoulder. Notice that your hips and torso separate from the placement of your hand. Hold your end range for the recommended amount of time before slowly returning to the start position. Repeat the movement for the recommended amount of repetitions, attempting to move further into the range of motion with each repetition.
So that particular video really highlights the capabilities of the 3D world, and we can do anything. I mean, you can look inside the body. This one particularly shows pans and zooms and changes in opacity. Like you notice that the wall kind of just disappeared for a little bit. It gives the patient a really nice perspective on how to do what they're supposed to be doing. Sometimes, and even something that a video might not even be able to express correctly anyway, with something that can be complex, like a multi-step movement like this. So yeah, thanks, Andy. That was a good comment. And we try to change perspective. Sometimes you're seeing things from the eyes of our 3D avatar. Sometimes you're seeing things just of the avatar doing the exercise.
Yeah, Ryan. So that's pretty impressive. You said something about it being able to look closer up, like even into the joint, perhaps. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. So there's other. Here, let me see if I can.
Because therapists understand this, but maybe the patient doesn't. They may have just a rudimentary idea of what even the humerus is, let alone what the clavicle is or the AC joint.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an area that we're breaking into. And I think I have it in our back end. So we have as an education.
Go ahead, Ryan. I was going to say that the disc model you have that. It might show.
I mean, I had some software a long time ago that I got and I think I got it in Boston in 2008. And I don't know if the company's still around, or they have a really pricey musculoskeletal system where you can see it walking upstairs and squatting and push-ups and all this other kind of stuff. And it was pretty cool. I forget. I wish I knew what the name of it was. I tried to look. I think they have a cloud version of it, but I had a disc version, and then the disc stopped working.
Yeah, we have in our it's hidden in our back end right now because the usage of it just wasn't there initially. But right now there is a disc model, so there's videos like
That's cool.
You can take a video, you can spin it all the way
Sure.
around, you can zoom in and out and all that, and it shows it in action, it shows it moving, and it keeps things. And so we keep it not necessarily anatomically perfect, but instructionally perfect, right? Because patients don't need to know that there's a little tiny protuberance on a bone, that kind of thing. So they just need to know what the disc does when you move, and then where is the nerve in relation to the disc while you're moving, that kind of stuff. So that's in there. We haven't released it to the version that you guys are seeing right now.
No worries. That's cool though.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, if you're interested in it, man, we send me feedback. We're as much a software company as anything else. We've got some clinical chops, but the technology side of what we do, we can build about anything. And if it's like you think, man, this would be really cool to be able to use in my practice, let me know. Send me an email, like Ryan@atlashealth.io, and I'm more than happy to chat with you about something like that.
Nice.
Anyone else? We got about 4 or 5 minutes left here, so.
Yeah, that one quick.
I'm curious to hear, for those that have used it, do you see any value when we talk about the idea of, the difference between packaging what you're delivering to patients in a Walmart bag versus an iPhone box? Do you see does that move the needle in a positive direction for your practice, or is that something that maybe you believe may not have much of an impact on? So Sarah says that her patients have seen made some comments about, Mariana thinks it's important.
Okay, yeah. I haven't been paying attention to the chat. Yeah, Suzanne, I get that. Okay, yeah, noisy background. I'm with you. Disc model, yeah. Lee, yeah, disc model, like an animation of the disc model is we have it and we can turn it on. It's like if you want it, then we can definitely put it in there. Sarah, let's see. Yes, patients have commented on it on quality of the videos, etc. Mariana, I think it's important. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to think about when we go back to professional persona, just what it is, the difference between handing somebody a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of their program, something that they can lose, something that goes up and who knows where, gets lost in their car, up on their fridge, versus something that they get right here that you can say, like during the session, this is what I'll do. I'll send them their program and I'll say, I just sent you a text message. And then they're like, oh yeah, it's here. I'm like, tap the link. And they're like, okay, that's cool. And I said, play the video. Does this make sense? And then there's a little hamburger in the upper right-hand corner. I say, press those 3 lines. And then they press 3 lines and it says, see messages, tap that. And then it goes, I said, you see my name? And they're like, yeah, tap my name. And then I say, send me a message, just say hi. And then it comes and then I show it to them. I say, hey, look at that. It just came to me. And then I send hi back. I said, this is how we talk now. So anytime you need me, I'm here. And I have yet, like a lot of people say, God, don't you get people that are just bothering you all the time and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, not really. Like Jason, have you experienced that? Like there are some people that may be really distressed early on that I think the most that I've had is in in the first 72 hours, maybe like 3 messages in the first 72 hours. But who better to help out, right? Who better to be able to calm their fears and let them know that what they're doing is on the right track, and they can just do their exercises, and I'm here for you, right? Like, those are the people that you really want. And then there's people that like, hey, just checking in. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, yep, that's right. Everything sounds good. Takes 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I have not had anyone abuse it. I have had some patients who are very in their head and have some significant fear avoidance or catastrophizing, some anxiety, related to the chronicity of their problem, and no one else has really addressed that well. And so it was a bit more than most patients in terms of the effort to kind of talk them off the ledge and to help them start understanding. But it's probably the reason why that patient is now much better than she's been in years. And it would not have happened, I don't think, if there wasn't a nurturing and a reassuring and a clarifying and helping her work against some of those nocebo language and messages that she's received from other clinicians. So in some cases, it's exactly what we need to. And this is where you get into, okay, can you get paid for this in an in-network world? And the lengths that you'd have to go through to get some kind of reimbursement for remote monitoring probably wouldn't be worth the effort. And so in my practice, with it being a concierge type of cash clinic, it just further sets myself apart. So people want what I can give them, and it is different and better than what they're getting in a conventional setting. So, but I don't have patients abusing the connection with me, and I can choose to respond to them at 11 p.m. at night or 7 p.m. on a Saturday, or I can choose not to. And they understand that. Most of them are not expecting for me to answer at all moments, but as long as they can just get it off their chest or put it here so they won't forget to tell me later. Those have been some of the comments that patients have made. And so it just, again, it delivers a better patient experience. They value it. They see it as something different and better than what they're getting.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just going to address some of these comments in the chat here. So it's a great way to utilize it, starting with evaluation. Yeah, so when you're utilizing this, use it in session. Use it, and it takes just a few minutes to set them up in the account. In fact, do it before you even see them, like when they're on their schedule. Add them as a patient. That way, when you're going through your evaluation, then you can, in real time with the patient, you can say, hey, check your text messages. I just sent you something. And you can go through that process of, this is how you contact me now. Andy, better than relying on someone else to tell them, right? In the front office. Yeah, and play phone tag, that's for sure. Yeah, gotta go. Okay, thanks, Sarah. See ya.
Yeah, we are at the 1 hour mark, guys. So we can end it here, but we appreciate everybody joining today. We're excited about the potential that in between session interaction and better engaging patients has. And this is one form to do it. A person can do it outside of Atlas, obviously, but this is kind of tailor-built for those of us who use in-range repeated movements and finding directional preference with patients. So thanks, Ryan, for sharing what you got, and thanks everybody for joining. Yep.
We can stick around for a little bit. I realize that we're beyond our 1 hour threshold here. So yeah, I respect your guys' time, and feel free to hang out if you just want to throw questions out for Jason and I to tackle. We'll stick around for a little while. Thanks, Andy. Man, I appreciate that. It means a lot. Like, sometimes you're doing this stuff and you don't necessarily know if you're going in the right direction, if it's the right thing, if it's but thanks. I appreciate the comment. See ya. Yep. Bye, Andy.
I'm sorry that I lost the beginning of the recording. Are you going to send a record or something?
Yeah, we have it recorded, and then we'll get a copy out to everybody that attended.
Okay, awesome. Because I don't want to ask the questions that you probably already answered.
No, I'd say go ahead. Like if there's something that you want to know, ask now. We're here.
No, I was just curious to see the system and
Sure. I can take you here. I'll just take
Hey,
you.
Ryan,
Yeah.
before you hop and do that, I do need to scoot, so I'll let you show Mariana that, and then we'll be chatting anyway. Mariana, good to see you.
good to see you too.
All right, you guys take care.
All right. See you, Jason. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. So I'll just give you this a demo here of, let's say that I'm seeing a patient, and I'll just take it from tip to tail. The system here is broke into 3 columns here, 1, 2, 3 vertical columns. The one on the left is your patient information, and the one in the middle, your programs, and then the one on the right is your like miscellaneous. It's outcomes, messages. Pretty soon there'll be like 3D modeling, that kind of stuff in there. So what I do is I put test patient 10. Let's see, I've done this a million times here. So 1, 2, 3. If we put the same number in, then it'll flag, the system will say, hey, you already put the number in, you can't do that. And then I can put just an arbitrary birth date in here. And we'll say cervical. Okay, so yeah, use that. There we go. So there's our patient just sitting there, and we can choose to either assign a template or add exercises. The templates are built here, and they can be templates for anything you want. Like Lee Poston asked about like extension principle or whatever. You can create anything you'd like, a post-op knee, a post-op left knee, a post-op right hip, post-op left shoulder, whatever you'd like. But let's just say I want to create my own program. So I come down here and I hit add exercise. And because we're talking about so the patient facing side will say neck program, and then on our side it'll be cervical. And I continue. So now this goes into the exercise selection portion of this. So you can choose several different ways of determining what kind of exercises you want. You can use the 3D avatar here, front and back. So this automatically selects all cervical exercises, and then I can just type in retraction. And then there it is. It comes up first. You see this red heart here, and I have it favorited. So I can also just select by getting all my favorites that are in the cervical region, and that's what this is here. But I want to expand my search right now because we're in cervical retraction. So I could have cervical retraction, retraction extension. We have multiple forms of each one of these exercises in here. And it's growing all the time as people request different things. And let's say that I wanted to add in, I'm going to deselect these. Let's say I wanted to add in some patient education, and a lot of times some centralization, peripheralization education, and also some roll use. I like to use a vertical roll for cervical stuff, so I'll just put certain vertical roll in here. Our 3D avatar, let me play this for you just so you can get a good example of what that looks like.
The response of pain to movement plays a crucial role in guiding clinical care and provides valuable information about the effectiveness of prescribed treatments. The location of your pain can move to different body regions. You and your clinician will use this change in pain location to guide treatment. For example, if you have back and leg pain, the leg pain can move out of your leg and toward your spine. Pain that moves up toward your spine is called centralization. Or pain can start in your back or neck and radiate away from your spine and into your leg or arm. Pain that radiates away from your spine is called peripheralization. When pain centralizes, meaning it moves up toward the spine, This indicates that the prescribed exercises or positions are effective, and you can expect a full recovery. While performing exercises that centralize your pain, increased low back pain is common. Nothing to worry about and will improve. On the other hand, when pain peripheralizes, meaning it radiates away from the spine and goes down an arm or leg, it suggests that the exercises are not ideal and should be stopped. In such cases, your clinician will reevaluate your condition and explore better alternatives. To ensure a more effective recovery, discuss any changes in the location of your symptoms with your clinician, as this will help to customize your treatment strategy and promote a more efficient and successful recovery.
So that's something I put that in all of my patients' programs, and I say watch this several times because it's pretty dense as far as information goes, but it's super helpful, right? They have to know that principle, and it's better than just saying, just don't let it shoot down your arm, don't let it shoot down your leg, right? They can watch it over and over and over again. That's one benefit of it. And just, you know, simple stuff like putting in a lumbar roll. How are you supposed to do that? And it shows you how to do that. So let's say I like those exercises and that education, then I can hit the next button down here, or I can go up to step 2. We've chunked it this way. I can change the name of this if I want to, if I don't like neck program. I can put in a personalized message here, and this just says, hey, Clara, we talked about this, and remember to keep track of this, and please message me if you have any problems. I can change anything down here, my rep sets. This is all editable text, and it'll carry over. So it doesn't go back to its default setting. It stays just like this within this patient's chart, or this patient's account in this. And then I can either hit next or go up to step 3. I can add a caregiver in here, like if they come in with possibly if they're elderly and they come in with a one of their children that helps them out, or vice versa. And then I can save this as a template. Let's say whatever I did, I use that all the time. And instead of going up into the template builder, I can just hit save template and it'll save it as a template. I can print it, just the first page. If I print just the first page, there's a QR code that they can scan with their phone. But most often, this is the one that I use right here. I send this program, and it's going to send it to whatever email or mobile number that you put in here. I like mobile. It looks really good on mobile. It sends them a text within a second, and that way you can get the process going of getting this exchange of, hey, like check your text messages and tap the link, and right, it really gets them to buy into that whole process of this is how we communicate now. And then I hit send, and then it gives me a record of who sent it on the date and time. Then what I do is I can copy this right here. So copy for EHR, I hit that, and it gives a text version of everything that I just sent them. I copy that, and then I can paste that into my EHR. Makes it super simple so you don't have to remember exactly every little like detail that you put into their exercise program. So it puts that all here, and then you just flip over to your other tab where your EHR is, and then you paste it into that EHR. This right here, program link, it's blurred out. So this is a link that's unique to this particular patient's program. I use this infrequently, only if patients are really having a hard time trying to get their programs, and I'll copy this link, and then I'll put it into an email, like from my business email, and then I'll send it to the patient. I've used that because it does happen though, and I've only used it maybe like 4 or 5 times out of, let's see, I've got about 1,500 patients in there right now. So like really, really infrequently, but we put it in there just as an option because we knew that kind of stuff could happen. And then we just click done. And then there's your patient. And then here is their program right there. We'll go back to patients. Now let's say that I want to collect the outcomes for this patient. So it's toggled on right now. I can toggle them off, or I can turn them all on. And the only body region we have in there right now is cervical. So the only one that's going to come up is cervical, but you can have multiple body regions. It's kind of Sarah Shoup had a question about that. And if you have multiple programs, then you want to keep the body region per this one program. Like you don't want cervical and then put another one in here and name it cervical, and put another one in here, name it cervical, and put another one. Because when you send outcomes, then it's going to send all 4 to the patient. And really all you want is 1. So I want to collect outcomes. I can either do it face-to-face. So when let's say the patient is with me and I say collect now, and then it says read the following to your patient. So we put this in here because we want to standardize the process. So in the process, because we want this to be data mineable, and we want it to be relevant for research as well. So if we standardize our process, right, meaning like the verbiage has to be exactly the same every time. So if you read this, what is the intensity, yada, 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 and then best, they don't have pain at rest, worse, let's say is a 4, and then submit. And then it shows up here, and then it'll give you a cool fancy graph as they enter those in. But now you can do this in an automated fashion. So I just hit this little cogwheel, and then as far as their pain outcome goes, and eventually there's going to be more, which is why we have this toggled like this. So there'll be pain and function and quality of life, that kind of thing. So let's say I want to capture that. Actually, they're kind of acute. So I want that about every few days. I want to catch that every few days, let's say. So I put that in for every 3 days. And knowing that their maximal pain rating was a 4, I'll set up an alert so that if it goes above a 4, then I get an email. And the email is like all caps, so it really gets your attention. It goes to whatever email that you set up the account with. So now this patient will get a request for pain outcomes every 4 days. And if it goes above a 4, then I'll get an alert. And usually if I get that alert, that's happened. Again, it doesn't happen a lot because I try to set my pain thresholds appropriately. It has happened probably about 5 times out of hundreds of patients. And usually what I'm doing is I'm sending them, depending on how high it is. If it's really super high, then I'm calling them. But if it's just meeting the threshold, I'll send them a message. So like I'll go right here and I'll tap message, and then I'll put something in like, hi, Jane. And then I hit send, and then they get a message. And actually that message goes to both of the methods of communication that they put in here. So it's going to give them a text message and an email, and they can choose to respond to however. And once they tap that, then it takes them into our secure portal. That way we know that all the communication is secured. And as long as it's going through here, then we're good. And then you have a record of it, right? And this, as long as it's done through here, then you have a long record, and it just saves it. It saves it for the patient forever. It gives you a time and date stamp as well. Oh, there's the other thing too, like with messaging, sometimes there's patient sharing. So like I have PTAs that I work with, and if I use, so let's say that the PTA that I have is seeing the patient, but then he sends it to another PT and they kind of just take it from there, then I can opt out of receiving the messages anymore. Like if it just is not relevant for me anymore, let's say, then I can opt out of all the messaging. Cervical. I can also, if we go down here, I can copy all the information. Yeah, that's fine. I can copy all this information right here, so you can just stick it into your EHR as well. So all the pain ratings and all that, we create records of that. And then if I need to send it for later, then you're about to send an outcome collection request, notification to patient 10 for pain, and then I can send that, and then the request for their pain collection is just sitting there in whatever method they put in here. So either a text and or email. So that's kind of the quick version of all this, like a way that I would use it. Sorry, the way that I would use it with a patient. that's sitting right in front of me. I'd set up their account before I even saw them. I'd put in all their exercises. I'd send it to them. And then I'd say, hey, you know, you got a text from me, tap the link, and then play the video. And you see those little 3 bars in the upper right-hand corner, tap that, hit messages, go to my name, and then they would send me a message and I would send one back. And then it would be, this is how we communicate from now on if you need me outside of these face-to-face sessions. And it makes it so convenient. Like, and I don't know if you got in the end of this, but Jason and I have been using this with hundreds of patients. And well, me, Jason, my clinicians in my clinic, and we have yet to find somebody that just like abuses that communication privilege. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be one oddball out there that's just a complete outlier, but yeah, it just doesn't happen. Did you have any questions, Mariana, about anything?
No, I think this is awesome. Everything that you developed and created and put a lot of thought. It's crazy that I've been thinking like about like creating something very similar to this. Like I record my videos, and I know how much work is to develop something.
Yes, isn't it crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked to a lot of people that have had like, they have those same sentiments. They're like, man, I was thinking about doing kind of like the same thing, but this is, oh my God. I'm not even quite sure I could give you a summation of all the hours that have gone in, like the work hours as well as the non-work hours that are associated with something like this. Oh my God. And the money. I know because I had the same sentiment, and I've been thinking and working on like something similar, not like as sophisticated, to create like a home exercise program or something, because I recorded. I think that's a lot of the same frustrations as other clinicians, because you can not find the exercises, so you end up recording your own exercises yourself, or to find a way to give to the patients. So I mean, I share the same frustrations and ideas and the desire, and I try to develop software as well. It's very difficult. I know how to deal with that. It's super hard. Yeah. I mean, we have our CTO is our coder and our programmer. So luckily, and that's the only way. To try to outsource something like this anyway, it's an impossible. Yeah, you need somebody that's in it for all the right reasons, because it's going to take just thousands of hours to do that. We've heard people say that before, like, we would just, I would record myself, or they would record, but then it's like when there's an update that needs to happen outside of a face-to-face, then it's hard to make a recording of that patient because they're just not there. And then you end up trying to record yourself again, and some, your voiceovers into it and all that stuff. And it just is like, that turns into a huge amount of time eventually. That's that kind of thing. This, it's, they send me a message, and then I say, whatever, I'm going to send you, I need to change up your exercise. Then I go over here, and then I put something different in here, and then I send it. I mean, that's literally what you just saw there is how long it takes.
Yeah. And I imagine that's a lot easier to do the 3D models than real people. I've been recording with real people, so it's a lot easier.
The 3D models,
probably.
The 3D model that we have is rigged outside of human capabilities, actually, to be an instruction model, actually, because there's movements that, like, when you put physiological limits on everything, it doesn't actually look good, which is kind of surprising. So we push certain degrees of freedom way outside of physiological capabilities to make the movement appear what we want it to be, instructive, right? Like, to show retraction, if you put physiological on it, it's not that impressive. So we had to take certain limits way outside of those physiological mechanical limits. And so yeah, we did this all, like, we polled a lot of doctors, and we were like, what sticks out to you most about these? We left it a super open question. By far, all doctors, like physiatrists, orthopedic surgeons, that kind of stuff, they said, well, that doesn't represent my patient population. And we were like, perfect. We don't want it to represent your patient population. What we want it to represent is an educational tool. Like, you want to be able to see movement, right? And it's like we put a picture, we created a video of a 65-year-old near obese man, right? Then you're not going to be able to see these degrees of freedom and motions as an instructional tool. So we really built it as an educational tool more than anything. That's its purpose, right? Its purpose is not to look like your patients. Its purpose is to instruct your patients. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I was just curious to see, because as I said, I imagine many other MDT clinicians probably had the same desires and the same ideas.
Yeah.
So seeing that you build this is pretty cool.
That's great. Thanks for the feedback. Because it is such a just an arduous process. It's nice to hear this, because it means that it's something that people need, and we're just trying to get this out to the general use, right? We want this to go to all clinicians, and we want it to help patients, right? Like if we use this stuff, like the whole webinar today was about communication and how to communicate effectively, and what are the benefits of maintaining those contact points between face-to-face sessions. And it truly is like a game changer. If you see someone face to face, and then within 48 hours, you send them a quick message through this and just say, hey, just wondering how everything's going since I saw you on Monday. It is like nobody else does that. So if you do that, you like immediately stick out in this patient's mind. Like, my God, like I've never experienced, customer service essentially like this before. That I'm in Blacksburg, Virginia, and I had a patient who worked at Virginia Tech in that area, and he said, man, I don't know, like this whole thing that you're doing, he goes, I've never experienced this before with any other physical therapist or any other doctor that I've seen before. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's what we have to do now, right? And if we start that, and we start it now, then we can stand out, right? Like the people that are using this platform, because the service that we're delivering, as far as the musculoskeletal service, as an MDT clinician, the musculoskeletal service that we're providing is crazy, insane, above just traditional, conventional physical therapy, right? So now to package it and follow that up, like, MDT is all about standardization, right? You standardize the assessment process, you standardize the diagnostic process, but when it comes to creating treatments, it's the Wild West. People are still creating stick figures and pictures off Google and like whatever, and then they're sending them to email through their business email or personal email or something like that. Like, that's real sketchy, right? Like, we don't want that. So we want to standardize the whole process, tip to tail.
Yeah. No, it looks great.
Great. Did that kind of cover?
No, thank you so much for your time and for walking me through. I know I was able to just join late, so I appreciate your time.
Sure. Yeah. Any time. If there's anything that you want to see again, just give me a shout. It's ryan@atlashealth.io. That's my email address, and you can shoot me a message anytime.
Okay, that's awesome. And then you charge by the amount of patients that you use, or is like a monthly?
It's a monthly subscription, so it's unlimited patients, unlimited messaging, unlimited outcomes. Everything is unlimited for one fee of $49 per clinician per month. And we figured that was the best way, because if we started like a la carting it and nickel and diming, because text messaging fees can add up kind of quick. And you're going to end up sending hundreds of messages back and forth if you're using text. Now, if you're only using email, that's a different story. But then, you know, try to tier that and break it out. It just doesn't make any sense. So what we did is, yeah, we you know, there's going to be some super users that take a ton of our money just because they're sending messages like, you know, all day long, hundreds of messages possibly. And then there's going to be some people that don't use it as much, right? That kind of even and level everything out. So we tried to create a price point that kept everything fair. Yeah. So yeah, plus, you know, like just keep upkeep and that kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you, so a good way, here's a good way to get into this. With Jason's podcast, Mechanical Care Forum, we've collaborated with him, and for all of his listeners, they get 25 free patients to go in there. So, and that's just the initial offer. And if you put 25 patients in there, then on the 26th patient, then it's gonna kick in, right? But I mean, 25 patients is quite a lot. Like, give you a really good test drive, like a really good test drive. And that's what we wanted.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
you're welcome.
appreciate
Like I said, if there's any other questions you have, just please feel free to reach out and go get those 25 free patients and start tinkering around with it. You know, like put a test patient in there, put yourself in there, put your mom in there, you know, and start using it and see what they have to say. I'd be interested in just your feedback, you know, like use, you know, 20 and then give me feedback. I'm happy to have any kind of feedback that you can give.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
All right. Sounds good, Miranda. Have a really good day.
Thank you.
Thanks for
You too.
Mhm.
Thank you. Bye-bye.